Harry, big game coming up this week against Warrington. How are you preparing yourself, and what do you think Warrington are going to bring to the table?
Preparing ourselves well, training hard, eating well, sleeping well, normal stuff. Warrington are going to bring out, they're a good side anyways, so they'll bring out a lot of speed, power, aggression. But hopefully we'll match that and get one over them.
And we're up at the stadium as part of a big triple header as part of Family Day. How much are you looking forward to playing up at the spot of the first team?
It'll be good, it'll be exciting playing in front of in the stadium and that. So yeah, good experience. Yeah. And
obviously you're a few months into being here at the Rhinos. How have you found it so far?
No, I'm really enjoying my time here. I've learned a lot about myself and I've improved loads since I've come here. So each day I'm just going to get better and better and better, and I'm really enjoying my time here. Yeah.
How are you finding it with Tony Smith as well, and how is he helping improve your game, sort of game after game, judging that reserves is every other week, and keeping you sort of on top of what you need to do?
Yeah, Tony's really good. He tells you straight, which is what you want to know. If you've got 1% of your game you need to improve on, or you're a bit behind everyone else, he'll tell you, and it shows you how to get it done to the place where he wants you to be. So he's really good at being direct with you, which is, as a player, that's what you want. You don't want anyone lying to you or tell you straight, and you can crack on and can get improving.
And for a competition like the reserves, where you've got players coming in from a lot of different environments, either coming from the first team, coming up from the academy, like yourself coming in from Leeds Beckett, how much do you think this really helps push the competition and show the quality with how we performed this year? It's
massive, because there's the players that play reserves, they're all quality players. Obviously there's upcoming lads from the academy. They're all getting the chance to play at a tougher level, more physical level. And then like myself, university lads, we're all older, a bit more size and physically wise. So it's a good match, real competitive, we want competitive games.
And with big games, obviously Warrington this week, but Wigan and Hull KR before a potential grand final. Is that something that you're really, you've earmarked in your calendar that we can potentially get there?
Yeah, I think that's massive for us. I really want to get to that grand final. So getting these 3 wins is important. It's, one game at a time, so focus on Warrington first, get the result there, and then we build from that.
Is there a particular game this year that you've been involved in, that you've earmarked and said this is where I've started to develop, or you really work from?
I think the last game was Newcastle Thunder. I thought I really got to show what I can do, or bits of it anyways. So I got a good game time in the middle. So that was the first game I thought, yeah, this is what I'm getting more comfortable with what I'm doing, how I'm playing. So it was a lot better.
Do you see yourself playing more at sort of that front row rather than out in the back row, potentially loose forward?
Either. I've mainly played back row, but I like to get my hands on the ball. So the more I'm in the middle, the more I get my hands on the ball. So whether Tony wants to play me, I'm happy to play, but anywhere, yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Headingley Stadium for game number 3. If you've joined us for the first 2 games, you've had to get off. This is game number 3 of this beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's been a good day for the Rhinos all round. Leeds Rhinos women beating Warrington this morning. And then literally about half an hour ago, Leeds Rhinos beating Warrington Wolves 24-22 to get their first win of the Super League season since July. Well, the reserves are looking to follow swiftly. Let's see what they can come up with. My name's Dan Hawkhead, and I'll be bringing you live commentary for the next 80 minutes here at Headingley. Sorry that you can't see what's going on, but don't worry, we will be putting this commentary alongside the footage after the game, so you can watch all the tries back as well as listen to them. The Rhinos coming into this game with 2 fixtures remaining in the reserves calendar. Wigan Warriors and Hull KR remaining as the Rhinos and Tony Smith's side look to get into the potential grand final. I say that because they're sat currently on 17 points in the league. They need to win the remaining games in order to get into a chance of getting into that grand final, while Warrington, their season will end after today's game, having sat in 7th with 12 points. And coming into this game off the back of back-to-back defeat, or 3 lots of defeats actually, to St Helens, Wakefield and Bradford. But 2 very strong sides named by the 2 head coaches, and Leeds come out just in front of me. We're positioned in the south stand, so the global east stand just to my right, and the western terrace that was packed up with Warrington fans earlier to my left. Leeds coming out of the south stand changing rooms that are down to my left-hand side. But we'll quickly run you through the teams, starting with the visitors, Warrington. At fullback for Warrington, Jake Thewlis. On the wing, Connor Wrench and Craig Minikin in a first-team partnership. Those guys getting a good bit of a run-out, having not featured in the Super League game just a few hours ago. Then Jack Derbyshire and Joshua Hughes Lynch complete the backline. Riley Dean and Leon Hayes are in the halves. Moving into the forwards, Joe Bullock and Luke Thomas are the props. Aidan Doolan, the hooker. And then the back row of Adam Holroyd, Nolan Tupea, and Thomas Whitehead. On the bench for Warrington, Adam Worley, Noah High, Bobby Shingler, and Jamie Redcliffe. Their 18th man is Samuel Marshall. For Leeds, who just look to get prepared, Jack Sinfield moving his way towards the halfway cross, getting ready to kick the game off. Quickly run you through the starting lineup, the starting 13 for Leeds. Alfie Edgels at fullback, Darrell Alforts and Liam Tyndall on wings, with Lewis Rodmack in the centres. Jack Sinfield, as we've just heard, and Fergus McCormack are the halfbacks, and into the forwards. Hugh Worthington makes his first reserves appearance of the year, along with Leon Ruan, who's moved into prop from the back row. He's played a lot of back row this year. Bailey Aldridge, the hooker, as Sinfield does kick off down towards the north stand side, down towards where Leon Hayes is. And Warrington, despite juggling the ball with Luke Thomas, bring it back towards the 20. Quickly rounding up the last few names on the Leeds team sheet. Ben Hersey-Horden, Harrison Gilmore are the second rows, and Joe Gibbons is a loose forward. As Warrington starting lively, with Thomas Whitehead bringing the ball towards the 40-metre mark, met by Sinfield and Joe Gibbons. Referee's pausing in play, just makes Whitehead play the ball now with Joe Bullock. Plenty of appearances during his time in a Warrington shirt. Couldn't crack the first team today. That's the beauty of the reserve. A whole mixture of talent there for Leeds in particular. There's a mixture of first team down to academy. Ned McCormack being one of the youngest, his brother Fergus being the youngest. As Warrington on the last kick high, Edgell catches on this south stand side corner. So the south-east corner. Taken into the challenge of Greg Minikin and Nolan Tupea. As Alforts carries out towards the 20, just sort of around halfway. It's these early stages for the Rhinos. Look to capitalise if possible, because Warrington had a very good first set. As Alforts again powers it right down the middle. There's 2 Warrington players there waiting for him. It's Aidan Doolan and Luke Thomas. So Lee, the north stand side on about halfway, as Ruan cats it in with 3 defenders all around him, manages to take it to ground and play the ball definitely in the middle of the field, 40 metres out. Now Sinfield looked to cut over to the left-hand side, but he's had a step, put on one of those devious little steps and cut back on his inside. Edgell on the last, kicks centrally. It's a bit of a pocket of green that allows the ball to bounce up in, but Josh Hughes Lynch comes across and collects for the Wolves. Just finalising the Leeds team on the bench, Jack Smith and Riley Lum wear 14 and 15. Harry Medlicott, who you just heard pre-match, speaking very highly of how he's managed to develop under Tony Smith since moving from Leeds Beckett University. 1 or 2 players brought in to continue their development. Another beauty of what the reserves competition allows you to do. And finally, Morgan Gannon, a well-returned appearance for him after suffering injury against St Helens in May, getting his first game time in the reserves. So Warrington find themselves on a halfway. Leeds with Hersey-Horde wrap up Bullock. Ball comes to Whitehead, shifts the ball towards the south stand side. Gets it for Jake Thewlis. His brother Josh could have been a try scorer in the first team game earlier, as Jake gets just over the Leeds 30 on this right-hand side. Ball on the last is kicked by Riley Dean, collected safely by Alfie Edgerwood picks up the ball basically in the same position that he started the last set, which was in this southeast corner, about 10 yards in. Leeds wearing their dark blue and white shorts with the dark blue and I was going to say white striped socks as usual. Warrington, like the first team earlier, wearing an all-white top with blue shorts and blue and yellow socks. As Ned McCormack, with his first touch, goes with an arc towards the sideline. Does want to find the ground where he can. In his first reserves appearances. Now, Alford fancies himself a bit of a run off the edge. And basically goes back towards the North Stand touchline. A Sinfield on the last. Ball's an awkward one, goes end over end, bounces on the 40, goes towards picked up on the 25 by Connor Wrench. Who leaves Bailey Aldridge in his wake as he carts it back in. But Joe Gibbons and Ben Hersey-Horder there in support. Now Minikin cuts over to the right-hand side. On that halfway. Now Dean goes out dummy half. Played a bit for Warrington Reserves this year, along with playing for Castleford, of course. Spent that little period on loan with the Tigers during mid-season before being brought back. And that's a big hit for him. Hugh Worthington is right in the rib cages of Luke Thomas. Well, Bullock getting an offload away for Doolan, who steps right around Bailey Aldridge before cutting out to that North Stand side. Adam Holroyd was there running the ball. And caught pretty well. Hayes on the last. Dinks it up in the air. There's men there for Leeds. Liam Tyndall notably, but the pushback, there's 3 or 4 Warrington players in there counteracting the Leeds push. But Tyndall will be trapped in goal and it'll be a goal line dropout. So, a frantic 7 minutes. Little did we expect. Thought this could be an interesting one looking at the 2 teams that were named. Number of first teamers in both camps, 9 in the Warrington camp. As the dropout bounces on the halfway line, picked up by Riley Dean, gives it off for Bullock to charge back in. And why would you not? A man who's played extensively, not just Warrington, but had that spell at Wigan too. Unmistakable with his tall figure. Now ball comes out for Dean, drops it back inside for Tupeya. Scored 2 tries when he played for the Wolves Academy, in their win, 2-point win against Leeds over a month ago. Just shows the diversity within these 2 packs. But Warrington on the try line. Doolan picks up from dummy half, gives it to Hayes. Hayes, big looping ball out wide. This could be the first try in the corner. It is. Josh Hughes Lynch in all sorts of space. Liam Tyndall, not quite sure where he was there. It was Hayes with the great eyes, pinging the ball over the top. And Joshua Hughes Lynch with a pretty simple finish. Started by the post pads as Tupeya carted that ball in. It wouldn't have come to anything if Doolan and Hayes hadn't connected like they did. First, 4-0, kick to cup. Take this opportunity as well to say commiserations to Leeds Rhinos wheelchair, losing out in that wheelchair Challenge Cup final earlier today. But nevertheless, club's so proud of what that team has achieved and can achieve left in the season. There's still a League Leaders Shield and Grand Final potential up for grabs. Losing out to Catland Dragons. We know they'll bounce back James Simpson's sides. Be sure of that. Some talented players in that lineup. Line conversion. Ball out across, flags go up. And as you've probably just heard over the announcement there, Riley Dean kicking as ever in those bright orange boots, unmissable in the Warrington pack. So Wolves lead 6-0 after around 10 minutes played. I've got an official game clock. here at Headingley running for this one, but you know the kick's off about on half past. But Sinfield's kick restart goes out on the full. Minikin watched it go all the way, and Warrington looking to build a bit more pressure as they'll get the penalty on halfway and will kick for touch. Start their set a lot closer to the sideline than they would have been if that kick had stayed in play. Really, the Wolves, Bobby Shingler coming on. The Wolves starting the fresh set of 6 from their own 30 as Minikin can't set in before giving the ball away to Doolan to make a few more metres. Now they're inside the 20, Warrington. Looking to push and get some points on the board if they can. They've already got 6. Can they make it 12? As Thomas goes down on the 5. Hersey Horde and Worthington in there for Leeds. Warrington, though, going to go out towards the left with Hayes. Ducks under the challenge of 2. Might have looked high. Doesn't matter. Hayes burrows his way to the line. Leeds' defence tried to take his head off on a few occasions, but nothing more they could have done on the halfback, who just ducked and dived, cutting back off his left foot step. So deceiving. And it's back-to-back scores for Warrington. Makes the score 10-0. Another kick to come from Dean, but from Warrington. I think they'll be disappointed, the young Rhinos. They started with a bit of vigour. Didn't get close to the try line, but you just go through the stages after 10 or so minutes, but especially that Hayes try all came off the back of the kick that went into touch from Sinfield, the restart after conceding. And Dean will look to make it 12. Just off to the left-hand side, but pretty much slap bang in front, really. Gets a 2. It's 12 points to 0 in favour of the Wolves. So a quick start for Wolves Reserves if you have just joined us. Leon Hayes, Lynch in the 2 early tries. Riley Dean with 2 conversions. My name's Dan Hawkins. We'll be taking you through the remainder of this game. Sorry we can't bring you footage as well of this game, but don't you worry. We'll be putting the audio stream under the visuals post-match. You'll be able to watch the whole thing back, so you don't miss a thing. Nevertheless, Warrington from the restart. Sinfield went safe this time, but Warrington playing with a bit of enthusiasm now. Ball comes out for Doolan again. Nice offload there from Whitehead just to free the hooker to make some extra room, get him over to 40. Now towards halfway with Whitehead. Gibbons and Hersey Horde with that flowing mullet. Can't miss it from Ben. He's had a pretty good season from all standards in the reserves. As Dean comes to Payer, looks out to his outside, doesn't give the ball. As and then McCormack comes in, hits the man strongly. Kick on the last from Dean. Goes up in the air, well taken by Liam Tyndall. They're going to say a knock on, though, against Leeds. Tyndall went up with 3 men. 2 of them Warrington players. I think it was Wrench and Minikin. On the way down, just lost the ball. So this should be a scrum free to Warrington. It is, says referee Aaron Belafonte. The man in the middle today. £12 points to 0 in favour of Warrington. Leeds Rhinos 0, Warrington Wolves 12. In the early stages of this reserves game. Sun's coming out Headingley. The breeze is coming out. The fans that have stuck around. See what happens in game number 3 as Hayes looks to make it a quick fire double. He's taken 3 players with him and he's over the line. Lucky not to get down, but gets a quick play of the ball. Doolan fires it in for Adam Holroyd. Ball's still alive. Looks to come back off a Leeds man. So it'll be interesting to see what the referee says here. It could be a Warrington feed again. It's not, it's a Leeds one. It's a hint it might have come off a Leeds man, but well done for that goal line defence. Tony Smith, I reckon he'll be a bit happier, given how quickly Warrington have got the points on the board. So Leeds will have the scrum on their own 10. So 90 metres to go if they want to score and get themselves back in this game. Plenty of time, though. No need to exaggerate. As Edgell over the 20 now leads. Fullback played so well this year as Leeds get the penalty. Warrington caught offside. Tyndall with the quick thinking, the quick run. And Sinfield will like to speed things up. Kicks out wide towards this south stand side. And they will start the new set 30 metres from the posts. Ned McCormack with the looping ball off the knee of Ruin. And that's going to be a silly turnover for Leeds. McCormack with the looping ball. Should have given it straight to Aldridge or Sinfield. Instead tried to give it on for Leon Ruin, who was not ready for it. Comes back off his knee, and Warrington will say, thank you very much, we'll take this one. And now Thomas hit strong by Aldridge and Ruin as the Wolves progress over halfway. Can't really look to concede here, the Rhinos, as they trail 12-0 after 15 minutes. Ball comes for Whitehead, on for Hayes. Nice movement from Warrington, gets it for Holroyd. Derbyshire nowhere to go. Referee stand up and play the ball. That's a poor pass out of Dewey Half Sails over the head of Thomas. He didn't want to catch that ball. Nevertheless, gets back in the hands of Riley Dean, who goes high. Tyndall gets up to take it, but immediately there's two men waiting for him, and those men are Nolan Tupea and Greg Minikin. Well, Ned McCormack puts a little step on. That's nice from Ned. Leaves Conor Wrench in his wake, but gets the ball pinched from the Wolves, who cut back across the field. It's Wrench who's pinched it from McCormack. Gets the ball out wide. This could be a try on here for Warrington if they can get it through the hands. Derbyshire for Hughes Lynch. Now for Holroyd. Promising play again for Leeds. Just turned on its head. Or is it, as Holroyd coughs up the ball? And it will be a Leeds scrum. Getting fortunate there. McCormack just trucked over the first tackler. Not sure whether it was Tupea or Minikin. But Wrench saved his team a fraction by taking that ball off the young man. He's, of course, named in the Yorkshire Origin team but by Paul Anderson, but he's playing today along with his brother Fergus, who have been absolutely lethal for Tony Smith's under-18s. Both are absolutely superb in the under-18s recent win against Wakefield. For those guys, they've only got Huddersfield away and then Wigan a day before the Warriors arrive in town to play the Rhinos women and first team. Make sure you get your tickets for that now, if you haven't already. The next home game here at Headingley after trips to Huddersfield and Hull FC. Nevertheless, Leeds with Tyndall moving himself over the 40. It's Leeds Rhinos 0. Warrington Wolves Reserves 12. Sinfield with his hands on the ball gives it to McCormack. Shifts it on for Hersey Horde. This is nice from Leeds. Hersey Horde finds a gap. Not enough though for him to get through. It's good defence from Hayes. And the edge from Warrington. Now Ruin. The darting run. Another that's been found a lot of joy in the reserves this year, Leon. Played a handful of games for the reserves. As Sinfield's high kick taken by Jake Thulis, who will start the set 5 metres or so from their own try line. There's Hughes Lynch with a try to his name already. Carts it back in towards the 10. This is where Leeds' defence will have to muscle up, show what they can do. Because a good defensive set here could lead to a nice attacking set if possible. Ball lost though. Minikin, the man who just fumbles the ball. Referee Belafonte says, I've seen that one. It's going to be a scrum down to Leeds on the 30. So if you've just joined us, early tries, we've given Warrington a 12-0 lead. Leon Hayes, Joshua Hughes-Lynch getting over the Leeds try line early on, but the Rhinos looking to no better way to do it. Just over their opponent's 30, more on the 20, the 28 in the middle of the field. The posts are in sight. Ball comes out from Edgell. Goes to that north stand side, that right stand side. Through Sinfield, gives it to Roberts. With unmistakable ginger hair. There's now Sinfield. Drop ball inside for Hugh Worthington. Played in and scored in the win against Leeds for Huddersfield. It's the only defeat the Rhinos Reserves have conceded this year against the Giants here at Headingley. As Edgell off the Sinfield pass gets the ball wide. This could be on here for Leeds. Tyndall for the corner. He thinks he scored. So do the Leeds players. So does the referee, more importantly. Nice hands from Leeds. Sinfield, Edgell, and McCormack with the light hands. Gets it wide. Tyndall in at the corner. And Leeds respond. Points to 12. Kick to come from Sinfield. And it's all action here after 20 minutes. Also here at Headingley. Much needed try for the Rhinos. But again, capitalising off the back of the mistake from Warrington. Just like Warrington did to Leeds to get Leon Hayes his try. The Rhinos doing the same and closing the score to 8 points. If Sinfield can kick, it's out on this touchline, 20 metres from the try line. He's going to loop it back around with that foot, and this looks good to me. Just dinks across it, clink against upright. But absolutely spot on the money. And Jack Sinfield makes the score 6 points to 12. The Wolves still lead, but leads with a much-needed score. Sinfield with his 22nd conversion of the campaign. The top point scorer as well now with 68 points. Liam Tyndall getting over for his first try of the reserve season, having made 2 appearances. Alfords cuts it back in from the kickoff, which sailed out towards the north stand side, the northeast corner. So down where the corporate entrance is for those that know Headingley. In very nice at the back on the halfway as Sinfield decides to take that ball into the line himself. We've seen it before from the young halfback. Never afraid to go at the line himself. Now Ruin looks to be more in this back rower's role. Try to flick offload back, but Luke Thomas is there to take. The referee, though, will call it against Ruin, and Warrington will have a scrum on the halfway. So 12 points to 6. If you've just joined us in favour of Warrington. Liam Tyndall, the latest try scorer. Get Leeds a score back after going 12-0 down. Whereas at Whitehead, him is immediately pounced upon by Ruin. Looking to make up for his error. Now Hayes drops it off for Holroyd. Plenty of metres, both these teams. Warrington, from only 2 plays from the scrum, are within touching distance of the 20 as Hayes. Ball back inside for Thomas, who reaches the 20 with Gibbons and Ruin clutching on for dear life. Not much they can do to bring the prop forward down. As now Dean on the 4th gives it on for Thulis. Arcs towards the corner, but McCormack sucks right in along with Jack Sinfield. Minikin for Riley Dean. Shifts it on for the Warrington man. I think that's Bobby Shingler that's getting one of his first touches of the ball. It's coming off the bench. There's Doolan for Dean. Going down the short side. Looks to get a little dab kick. Picked up by Sinfield. Now it's a pure foot race. Sinfield. There's men coming back across. Warrington on the lead 35. Before he could really get going, it looked apart. It could have been a clever kick from Dean, but Sinfield read it all the way. Picked it up and looked to be away. If that had been maybe a Ned McCormack, a Darrell Alforts or Lewis Roberts, it'd have been away. The young halfback, though, just couldn't get up to speed. Now Alforts finds a little gap, gets an offload away. Harry Medlicott on for Leeds. Gets an important first touch as he gets Leeds inside the 20. Aldridge goes right towards the north stand with Sinfield. Looking to maybe dab a kick. He thought about it before being engulfed by two Warrington players in white. Gibbons on for Medlicott. Nice hands. Gets it to Edgell. Nowhere for the fullback to go. Looks left, looks right. Moves back to the left with McCormack, who does well to catch the ball on the fly. That's Ned McCormack. For moving towards the 10. He's got to be careful here, Ned, in order to not go out of play. The touch judge raised the flag. Got rid of the ball before he'd gone out, though. So Warrington will start their new set after Ned McCormack going out of play on the 10. And it's the Wolves that come up with the error. Like Holroyd, who just as a bit of afters, Ben Hersey-Horde getting himself in there. And this is where Leeds could look to counter again. So they'll start 25. Away from the try line. Knock on. Being penalised by the referee as Sinfield. There's all sorts of acres of space in front of him. Instead of Warrington following him all the way to go down on the 10. Leeds knocking on the door here. There's a ruin. Tackle on the 5. Now Aldridge looks to potentially go out of dummy half if he can. Turns, finds his back. Nonetheless, Leeds will keep coming. Sinfield dabs a little kicker behind. Medlicott's chasing hard. Warrington are going to let it go, though, and they're going to get a tap. I was going to say a tap back on the 20, but I think the referee's picked up that there might have been a touch there as the ball came through, and so it's going to be a dropout to Warrington. So Leeds with Alforts. Starting their new set following that dropout on the halfway. Warrington's kick pretty big to get Leeds in range. That's now Aldridge for Edgell. Drops it inside. Ruin. He's definitely moved into that back row role that he knows so well. He's played a lot there for not just first team, but reserves as well. As Sinfield goes high with the kick. Looking down towards Josh Hughes Lynch, but instead Leeds keep the ball alive. Ball comes out for Roberts' intended offload. Aldridge wants it to be thought he was patted down by a Wolves player. Warrington pick up. I'll bring it back in. Roberts, so right round the neck of Derbyshire, which grabs the back of the shirt. This turned into an interesting contest. 12 points to 6 still in favour of Warrington. The Wolves find themselves on the south stand side with Connor Wrench. Now with Hayes, moving it back to the centre of the field. Ball comes back from Shingler. It's better from Warrington as Hayes looks like a darting run in behind. Is there a chance for an offload? Not quite. His men are there to bring him down. As Dean on the last goes high, kicks it from the 40. It's going to go a fair distance and will land with Tyndall on around the 15. As he then shrugs away the challenge of Wrench. And Minikin finds a bit of a gap. And here goes Liam Tyndall. He's away. He's got a fullback there with Jake Thewlis. He's got the winger as well, but he gets away from both. What a try this could be for Liam Tyndall if he can beat the fullback. What a tackle. He made it inside the 20. Jake Thewlis got back there and hit the man. Leeds back in the driving seat, looking to level this game up if possible. Gilmore on the 10. Aldridge is there waiting. Directing the traffic. Gives it off to Joe Gibbons. He works closer to the post pads. Warrington defenders just roll away. As Aldridge sends it for McCormack. This is nice from Leeds. Edgell for Alforts. Warrington's defence just comes up and bear hugs the centre before he can get taken to ground. Otherwise, there could have been a try on there for Lewis Roberts. There's McCormack for Medlicott. Puts a good bit of footwork on to find himself back on the 5. Leeds continuing to knock on the door. Aldridge for Sinfield. Keeps moving. McCormack with the flick on pass for Tyndall. The ball goes forward, says the referee. And Warrington get lucky. Score remains 12-6. So Warrington coming with Thomas. Now it's Noah High. There's really the changes now. The Wolves. That kick though from Dean comes back off the back of Harrison Gilmore and into the hands of the Wolves, who will continue to keep possession. Now be Hayes that kicks from deep. The tackle's in the bag, clearly. But Hayes' kick stabbed down towards the 10. And Alforts will pick it up. About 10 metres in from where the north stand is. Gives it to Edgell. And Leeds will start the new set from the 15. Tyndall cutting back off the edge. Saw him make that great break early that could have seen Leeds get back in the clash. There's now Roberts. Taken to ground by 3 players. Holroyd, High, and Shingler all in there. Sinfield boots the ball long over the head of Josh Hughes Lynch. Picked up by Jake Thewlis, who comfortably brings it back into the arms of Harry Medlicott. and Bailey Aldridge. So the Wolves will now start from 40 out. Wrench with a strong carry. Just armoured up and fronted up too to run it into Joe Gibbons and Aldridge. As Jack Derbyshire towards the 30. Warrington looking to add to those 2 tries scored by Leon Hayes and Josh Hughes Lynch earlier. So the visitors on the 25. Out wide for Minikin, cutting back inside, but Tyndall read it all the way, along with Harrison Gilmore. But nevertheless, the Wolves in a real strong position here. Hayes, short pass, misses everybody, and goes over the sidelines. So it'll be Leeds ball again. And it'll be Leeds tap and go on the 10. It's tightened back up this contest, despite looking at the scoreline, which remains 12-6 to the Wolves. Ned McCormack, not step at the line. Doesn't deceive anybody. Noah High gets right up in his face. There looks to be a knock on. Says referee Belafonte. Everything looked fine. Tough call to go against the Rhinos. And the Wolves will now get a scrum down on the 25. The sun comes back out here, Headingley. It's starting to look quite like it's going to be a nice evening. The remainder of this game, which still remains in favour of Warrington, who feed the scrum to Hayes. A short to Derbyshire immediately. He was engulfed by Roberts and Fergus McCormack, who say that he's only 17, Fergus. He's not looked out of place at either academy or reserve grade level. He's the youngest in this team today. And Hayes, inside ball. Could have been dangerous for Thewlis, but wasn't running onto it with enough power. And it's an easy take from Hersey Horders. Now Doolan goes out to half. Hersey Hord again. What a tackle to keep him upright Keep him upright. It forces Wolves to start the set again from the 10. As Whitehead shifts the ball for Dean. Flat ball for Minikin. This could be a third try for Warrington. Minikin finding his way over. There's a strong line back towards the right. Leeds' edge defence just seemed to appear as Gilmore and McCormack were there. Beat the both of them and kept his legs going. Did the Warrington man to find his way over the line. That's try number 3 for the Wolves to make it 16 points to 6, with Dean's conversion to come. It's turning into a tight-ish arm wrestle. Until Minikin added points for the visitors. Leeds are by far not out of this game just yet. As Dean looks to convert, he's got his back to where I'm currently sat in the south stand, with the ball pointing towards the right upright, just off to the right of the sticks. Just under 20 metres out, as here comes Dean. Slots the ball through comfortably. Makes it 18 points to 6. And the mountain getting a little harder to climb for Leeds. As deficit comes down to 12 points. There's plenty of players that can make things happen, though, in the Leeds side. One of those, of course, being Lewis Roberts, who we've not seen much of, but for those that have managed to see a reserves game this year, you know that man can score a try as he leads us in tries for reserves this year. As Whitehead coming back for Leeds. Change at hooker for Warrington, sees Adam Worley come on for Doolan, as that's a big hit on Derbyshire coming back across. Robertson, Fergus McCormack getting stuck in the closing stages of this first half. As Hayes manages to wriggle free, but the referee's not having any of that. So Warrington on halfway. The man just driven back there by two Leeds defenders, but someone manages to sneak the offload away. It's Bobby Shingler now. Noah Height goes searching towards the 30. Worley directing at dummy half. Is he going to go left or right? He's going to come right to Dean. He's got runners there for him. Ball comes out for the latest try scorer. Minikin does a similar before by cutting back across. And it must have been the last, as referee calls a turnover and Sinfield takes possession. So 18 points to 6 in favour of the visitors. And that will do us for half-time here at Headingley. And it's 18 points to 6 in favour of the Wolves, who got out to a 12-point lead thanks to Josh Hughes-Lynch and Leon Hayes, before Leeds responded with Liam Tyndall. So plenty to do for the Rhinos in this second half, and we will be back shortly.
And please welcome back our visitors, Rhinos and Wolves Reserves.
So, welcome back, everybody. Second half getting underway here at Headingley. Warrington kicking towards the Western Terrace in this second half. And the Rhinos really in need of points. They want to look and get this win off the Wolves as a trail 18 points to 6. Liam Tyndall with the early try of the first half for the Rhinos. Warrington getting out to that 2-try lead with Josh Hughes-Lynch and Leon Hayes before Greg Minikin added a try after Liam Tyndall's just before the break. 3 conversions as well from as the Rhinos find themselves moving towards halfway. They're Alfords. And only the second play. Aldridge out dummy half gives it to Sinfield. Moving over to the left with Ferguson McCormack. Nice ball. Almost feeds Harrison Gilmore through if he didn't have Nolan Tupea wrap right around his ankles. He'd have been away. A back rower. Another that's played a lot of under 18s for Tony Smith this year. Intuitive thinking on the last from Aldridge. Doesn't come to anything as Warrington turn over the ball. So no changes as it looks at half-time for Leeds. And doesn't look to be any either for the Wolves. So quickly running you back through the Leeds team for today. Alfie Edgell's still at fullback. Darrell Alfords and Lewis Roberts on this south stand side. Of course, the north stand is where Ned McCormack and Liam Tyndall are. Ferguson McCormack and Jack Sinfield are your halfbacks. Hugh Worthington, who he's not emerged since half-time. So Harry Medlicott's still playing at prop with Leon Ruin as the other prop, Bailey Aldridge as hooker, and the back row, no different. Ben Hersey-Horde, Harrison Gilmore, and Joe Gibbons. Plenty of players still on the bench as well for Leeds. Jack Smith, Riley Lum, and Morgan Gannon. We should see. I'm really excited to see Morgan get some more game time. As Alfie Edgell takes that ball well, meters shy from his try line. It's caught by Jack Derbyshire. So Leeds having to go the distance if they want points. And Roberts picks up and brings it back towards the 10. So an interesting second half awaits here because Leeds need the win in order to keep their hopes of a potential grand final alive. Now, they do have games against Wigan and over the next month and into September. The big one being against Wigan, obviously, as the Warriors look to book their place alongside St Helens as they sit at the top of the tree with 23 points. Leeds on 17. Would only be able to get to 21 if my math serves me correct here, should they not win today. As Sinfield's deep kick picked up by Thulis on the bounce, and he brings it back towards the 20 where is Roberts and Hersey-Horde waiting for him. Warrington, though, this is their last game of the reserves campaign. They can only get 2 more points as they sit in 7th and look to upset Leeds for a second straight year in the reserves competition, having won here last year. Leeds wearing that all-pink kit from what I can remember. There's a lot of first-team players named in that game. 2. And it's Wolves with the lead. It's 18 points to 6. Minikin with the half break. Gets a quick play of the ball too. Doodland goes straight off dummy half. Gives it on to Nolan Tupea. Hits the deck on the 30. Ball comes wide. Whitehead drops back inside. Medlicott. Gibbons hasn't had a break, and Ruin as well. I think I won't be surprised if Leon Ruin does the full 80 potentially. And play back row, we know he can. That's Tupea. Works his way towards the 15. So on that far side, north stand side. There's now Noah Height. Breaks the tackle of Gibbons, goes into the tackle of another 2 Leeds players, and then gets the offload away for Adam Worley. This looks on for here for Warrington. Tupea. Back towards Leeds' defence, swarms. He's full kind of dark blue there to swarm round the Warrington man. Dab kicking behind, looking for Whitehead. Collected by Hersey Horde by his own post pad. Only 5 metres away from the try line. Warrington again, if they're not caught offside, I was going to say, have Leeds in a strong position. But no. Penalty given by Aaron Belafonte. And Jack Sinfield says, thank you very much. I'll take another 10, 20 metres with my kick to the sideline. So, Alfords taps on the 40. Decides to cut back in field for throwing a pass that just goes wayward. I'm not sure who he was looking for there at all. Over the face of the whole Leeds defence, Sinfield looks back as if to say, what was that? Luckily, though, for Leeds, they will get the scrum. Warrington to Tupea, potentially, or Noah High jumped out of the line to try and pick up the ball and knocked on. So Leeds will get the scrum on their own 40, but just an odd one from Alfords throwing that ball. So from the scrum, Roberts moves his way towards halfway. Still in his own half, Leeds, and in need of points with the score at 18 points to 6. Alfords now takes it straight into the line now. No messing around from the man wearing number 4 for Leeds. Now Medlicott, a try scorer against Newcastle last time out. Of course, the last game that the Rhinos Reserves were meant to play was against Lee, but that was obviously cancelled, giving a 48-0 win. As that Sinfield's kick ricochets off the back of Minikin and taken by Thulis, who's rushing up and got some did. Warrington moving themselves now over the 30. Holroyd plays the ball for Worley. Now on for Whitehead. Finds a gap. I think that was actually a Connor Wrench in those pink boots, unmistakable pink boots. Thought he'd get a few more metres as well, but the referee said, we're going back and playing that one on the 45. Luke Thomas finds a bit of a hole, gets himself over the 40, leads his defence, managed to get him down eventually. Aldridge and Medlicott in there. There's now Hayes. Moves it for Holroyd. Taken down on the 25. Now Hayes on the short side just boots it out of play. Now messing around from the halfback. There's nothing that liked what was in front of him. And decides to pin Leeds back by their own try line. So it's going to be a need for Leeds to go from their own 10 if they want points as Leeds make another change. Joe Gibbons given a break and Hugh Worthington back out there wearing 8 as Alfords manages to find a bit of a gap and sends the ball away. Now Ned McCormack's got a bit of pace. He goes over towards halfway. He's got 2 Warrington players back in, look to defend if they can. Now Ned McCormack keeps on going to the 20. Good break by the centre. All set up by Darrell Alfords. And Leeds back in power drive here. Tyndall steps away from one and drops the ball. Classed to be a stripped, says Belafonte. And another much needed penalty for Leeds. If they get a score here, close the scoreline to... We've really got a game on here. Sinfield on the first. McCormack with the inside ball for Ruin. Now to keep his legs going. He's only got the try line in front of him. He's brought down with a metre, if that. I'm not sure. Sinfield. Short for Medlicott. Shows it to Stevenson. Takes it back into Worthington, and back into the line himself. Nice position here for Leeds off the back of that break from Ned McCormack. Sinfield holds the ball up nicely. Gives it for Edgley. Is there a pass away for the fullback? No, there isn't. Taken down 5 out. Leeds continue to knock on the door. Sinfield. Dummies. Goes himself. Warrington's line, though. They're defending well. Aldridge, though, goes out dummy half. Flat ball on for Hersey Horde. If there's a pass there, if he can get it away. Just a little slow. The Warrington defence swarmed him immediately before he's taken to ground. Now Aldridge for Sinfield. Kicks wide. I say kicks wide. It's sort of a mediocre kick, which is taken by Connor Wrench easily enough. I think he wanted the tap 20. I'm not quite sure what McCormack and Tidder were doing there. They were just looking at Connor Wrench, whether they thought it was a tap 20, whether they thought they caught him in goal. Instead, he's allowed to run free and gets to the 25. There's now Derbyshire. Over to the 35 for Aldridge and Medlicott meet him. Early kick of the tackle count from Doolan. Don't think it's quite a 40-20, is it? It's just going to hold up. More on the 30. And it will be Leeds ball. Again, Warrington with another sub. Jamie Redcliffe coming on to bolster that Warrington pack. Whereas Leeds look to be warming up. Jack Smith, I think that is in the... A lot of fluorescent boots out there today. Riley Dean for Warrington. And a feeling that his afternoon, well, I'd more say evening, looking at where the sun's setting over the Western Terrace at the minute. There's now Worthington. Moves the ball over towards the 45. Aldridge at dummy half. Goes for a no-look pass on for Sinfield. Back on his inside for Ruin. He's getting through a lot of work, Leon Ruin. Score remains 18 points to 6 in favour of the Wolves. We get a stoppage now as Ruin takes a knee. So that's Jack Smith. Heard it over the intercom. It's Jack Smith out there, not Riley Lump for Harry Medlicott. Ruin's just gone down on around Warrington's 47, 48, just shy of the halfway line. He's just been seen by the Leeds medical team. Of course, there's games in hand for the Rhinos Reserves. There's plenty of games in hand in the Betfred Super League. And after today's big win over Warrington, the boys need your support more than ever. Both home and away. Trips to Huddersfield next Sunday. 3 o'clock kickoff for that one. Followed up by a trip to Hull FC on Saturday the 2nd of September before we're back here at Headingley on the 8th. A big double header as well. Wigan Warriors are the opponents for both Leeds Rhinos and women, looking to potentially lock up a playoff spot. They play St Helens next on the Sunday the 3rd, Lois Forsell's side, with eyes on a potential grand final appearance after making history as one of the first 2 teams to play at Wembley in the Challenge Cup final. There's another change for Leeds. Medlicott straight back on the field. He's not much of a breather. And Ruin will be taken from the field of his own accord to be assessed by the Rhinos staff. Medlicott plays the ball and we're back underway. Sinfield, inside ball for Harrison Gilmore. Score remains 18 points to 6 in favour of Warrington. Hersey Horde eventually just chopped down. Gilmore, chopped down by 3 or 4 players went down with the Fergus McCormack. Brings the ball wide for Roberts, who looked for an offload. He said, "Where's the support? I'm here." Adam Holroyd, though, and Leon Hayes getting there first. That's a nice little chip over the top from Sinfield. Lets it bounce on the 10. There's a follow-up from Hugh Worthington. Would have been a brilliant try if the referee hadn't brought it back for offside. Sinfield just spotted that there'd been a push from Warrington's middles to try and defend against Leeds. And there was a nice gap in behind. Sinfield dabbed the kick over the top, bounced kindly on the 10. Worthington picked it up. And for all money, looked to have a try in front of a relatively empty Global East stand. A few people have stuck around, though. Big day full of not just rugby league action, but family day action too. We hope if you were down here earlier on, you enjoyed everything that we had to give you. It was carnival action, Star Wars characters, everything. Creepy crawlies, dinosaurs, would you believe? As Warrington on the 35. Play the ball to Derbyshire. Just it's one-up carries at the minute. Warrington, what can they produce? Now they've not got Riley Dean out there. It's going to be Leon Hayes and Adam Worley making it count. Or trying to create something. As now Hayes with his hands on the ball again. Chips over the top. Tyndall goes up high. Comes down pretty strongly. And it'll get a penalty too. He will get a penalty too. Tackle in the air from Wrench and Minikin. A little too keen. The two edge defenders for Warrington. And Leeds will say, "Thank you very much. We will take the field position." And they've got close as Ned McCormack, that man who made the inspired break earlier off Darrell Alfort's cutting across the line. Set Leeds up so nicely, but as Alfort's coughs up the ball. He's running at a lot of pace on the McCormack pass. And the ball just goes to ground. Warrington will get the ball back on the 45. It's not been a pretty second half so far. Still with that 18 points to 6 advantage. As Hayes working his way out towards the right. Manages to get up and wants a quick play of the ball too. Leeds allow him to do that. It was Tyndall and McCormack that were just roll off the challenge. And instead of making the yardage, the halfback quickly thought, let's play the ball. And it's a quick play. As now Whitehead, short for Noah High, flings a ball up in the air, taken by Whitehead, who was back into port. So Warrington on the 12. High at dummy half. On for Shingler. Give it on for Hughes Derbyshire, but nothing doing as Leeds' defence came up and met him. As Whitehead tries to find a hole between Medlicott and Gibbons, but nevertheless gets an offload. Warrington keeping this ball alive, like they could be close to scoring on the last. They're going short side. Doolan short for Tapea. Leeds' defence, though, right up in his face, and this will be a turnover. Well done, Harry Medlicott. Well done, Jack Sinfield. Getting up in the face of the back rower, who was not going to score this time. It's still a tough place to turn the ball over from, though. Really inside the 5 Leeds, and they're on tackle number 2. It was Edgell with an inspired half attempt to try and break the line. There's Lum over the 20. Goes to ground, just on his own 25, but eating up the tackles Leeds. Worthington way towards the 40. There's number 17 now out there for Leeds. Morgan Gannon in at half-back. Great to see the young man getting game minutes. A good competition for him to get them as well as Gannon goes to the air. Kicks down towards Hughes Lynch, who's waiting on his own 20-metre. What a hit from Gannon. What a way to introduce yourself back to action. Welcome back, Mr. Gannon. That's how you do it. A safe tackle. Put Hughes Lynch straight on his back. And that's the sort of steal that Leeds are going to have to show if they want to get back in this game. 18 points to 6 it remains. Greg Minikin, the latest try scorer for Warrington. Liam Tyndall with the only try of the game for Leeds. There's Luke Thomas. Just over halfway, Warrington. I'd say with the better spell of possession and territory in this second half, although they've not managed to make them count. As that offload, though, gets into the hands of Jamie Redcliffe, flings it back as well. Not afraid to throw the ball around Warrington. As Doolan eventually taken to ground. Jack Smith is there. And Fergus McCormack too. Hayes stabs a kick in the air. This chases for Warrington, but Liam Tyndall takes it coolly, calm and coolly. Flings it off for Edgell, but again Leeds in need of a penalty or something just to relieve the pressure. Warrington, I tell you what, the kicking game has been pretty good at pinning Leeds back by their own try line, and Leon Hayes has taken over that mantle from Riley Dean in the first half pretty well. To hold the ball on the third. Ball inside for Worthington. Finds himself down on the 40. Aldridge gives it for Gannon. Inside ball for Medlicott. Now here we go. Medlicott's got a bit of daylight in front of him. Flings the ball for Aldridge in support. Oh, he just steps over the challenge of one. Aldridge though, oh, what a tackle from Warrington to come back across. I thought for all money he'd scored. Conor Wrench had the beating of him. And instead, Minikin came out of nowhere to cut the young man down. Now Gannon with a bit of daylight close to the line. On the last. Hits the deck 2 or 3 metres shy. And now it's Leeds with a better spell of possession. But Medlicott with the break. Went over the 40, went over the 30. Flung it back inside to Aldridge. And his step over Wrench, I thought he'd all the way to the line. Minikin said no. And although Gannon thought he had a try out on the edge, the Warrington defence again denied. Leeds of points. Score remains 18 points to 6. Medlicott and Worthington in the challenges. As now Redcliffe backs himself over the 40, and it's Medlicott and Aldridge again in making all the work count. Now Shingler finds a small hole to poke his nose through, gets a quick play of the ball as well on for Hayes. Just holds up his run to get a kick, a deep kick as well. It'll land on the 5 with Riley Lum, who's gone out there for Lewis Roberts. Big Red getting a break. As Alfort's starting the tackle again, starting the set again for Leeds. They're only just on the 20 and they've burned two tackles. As Edgell chimes in, looks for a bit of daylight, looks for a glimmer of an opportunity if he can try and get something. For Liam Tyndall swallowed up on tackle number 4. And they're only on their own 40 Leeds. Referee tells Tyndall to come up and play the ball, which he does so. Gives it to Worthington. His face plants into the floor, but Leeds now outside their own half, and we're on tackle number 5. Warrington, though, forcing a knock-on. Big prop looked to go to ground quite heavily. I thought he might have lost the ball, and he did. So 18 points to 6 score remains. We've not got an official game clock. We've got roughly about 20 seconds or so. So it's 20 minutes or so, excuse me, 20 seconds. Referee Belafonte just seen something in the scrum and will repack again. Warrington's Aidan Doolan with the feed. Worley sends it straight back where it's come from for Minikin. Looks to be a designed play, but Leeds all up in the face with the Warrington line quickly. We're not going to be deceived by whatever they had planned. Now Redcliffe gets a ball out for Minikin. And for his time in black and amber of Casford, of course, Greg Minikin has only 2 tries in 21 appearances for the Wolves' first team. He's got another one. He's got one for the reserves today. As Holroyd fends out the tackle of 2 Leeds players. Ball comes out. Not for a second when he'd bounced off the attempted tackles of Alforts and Gannon. There was something on, but left the ball behind. He's complaining that he could have been allowed to pick up the ball again. But no, knock on and Leeds will get the ball slap bang in front of the posts. 10 metres out. In need of points, Leeds. 12 points, the deficit. That 18 points to 6 scoreline. Still sitting in the advantage of Warrington. It's been a tightly fought game, a close-knit game so far. Much given between both teams. As Lum, fresh off the bench. The strong carry over the 25. Finds his front. Just takes his time to play the ball. Eventually, Fergus McCormack allows a quick dart in and around the 30 mark. And tackle number 3. Short side play over on that right-hand side for Edgell. Let's try to have the beating of Adam Worley, but nothing on. Now Aldridge gives it back to Edgell. And a nice 1-2. It's obviously teammates from winning that Academy Grand Final together last year under Chev Walker. And Sinfield's kick goes high. Allowed to, it was good in the end by Jack Smith. And they're saying tackle complete. Not quite sure what the referee's called here on the Wolves, because it was a one-on-one strip, if anything. And if Jack Smith caught the ball, then it should be a Leeds scrum, a Leeds set. But no, Warrington with ball in hand. It was wrench under the pressure. Warrington bring the ball out. 18 points to 6. The scoreline still closely fought as the clock hits 5 to 7. It's roughly under 20 minutes remaining. As Leon Hayes, with a break over the 40, over the 30. Alfie Edgell's back. There's Leeds defenders back. Just like with the Leeds breaks earlier, the defender Hayes sparking something of an attack for Warrington. There's now Whitehead. Clatters his way towards the 10. This is dangerous now for Leeds. See what the goal line defence can do. Hayes can set it all up with a dab kicker behind this. Chasers taken well by Riley Lum, who's caught in goal. There'll be a dropout to the Rhinos. Hayes with that break. Spotted a gap. He's looked really dangerous, actually, Leon Hayes, as well as having his tries. Looked really dangerous, running at the line. Found a small hole there, and that's the only hole he needs to put Warrington on top. As Lum allows the ball to bounce from the dropout. Gets it to roughly around the halfway before Jamie Redcliffe picks up and takes it back another 20. So Warrington in a very to add points. Now on the 20 with Luke Thomas. Backs himself towards the 10 now. Medlicott and Hersey Horde unable to stop his progress. As Whitehead, ball comes out for Doolan, shifts it to Nolan to pay it. Swarmed around by the Leeds defence. 5 metres out. Doolan for Hayes. Gives it back inside. Safe carry for Redcliffe. Gets that offload away that we've seen him do a couple of times in this game. Gives it on for Worley. Leeds defence can't concede here. Needs to force a turnover as Hayes gives it on for Worley. Short pass on for Jack Derbyshire. Not quite sure. It looked all set to go for a try. There was a bit of space out there in front of him, but Leeds manages to halt his progress as Hayes dabs a kick over the top. Caught well by the Rhinos. Oh, it's dropped by Fergus McCormack in goal. I think Leeds might just have got away with this one, though. The referee, let's see what he says here, because it's definitely not a try. Does he give this head-off feed to Leeds or Warrington? And I think it's going to be on the side of Warrington. No, it's not. It's going to be a turnover for Leeds. The way he was looking there, pointed the arm out as if to say it was potentially a Warrington ball. But no, Leeds get that turnover that they require. They try to spread the ball now on the first with Alforts, one of the senior players in the lineup. Met by Adam Holroyd and company. There's now Gannon on for Lum. Backing himself over the 20 towards the 25. Leeds in need of points here. The 12-point deficit looming large as time continues to tick. It's currently against them as Lum, back in the centre of the field, goes towards halfway. Towards where that centre hashes. And gets a quick play of the ball as well for Aldridge, who twirls, pivots out of the first few tackles, gets a few more metres as well on the third. Tackles in the bag now here for Leeds. This is more like it. As Medlicott unassumingly waits at a dummy half. A poor pass. Puts his hand up in the air just to say, apologise to McCormack, who just puts it in the air. Ball's allowed to bounce, comes back off Connor Wrench, taken by Jack Smith. So has the tackle count been wiped here? Doesn't matter. Leeds will continue to progress. Worthington towards the 10. Looks eagerly for an offload. It is going to be a set restart, says the referee. This is it for Leeds. Aldridge. For Gannon. Shows Gannon. He's over the try line. Does that ball get down? I think it does. Just as it was turned back towards the field of play by the Warrington defence, Morgan Gannon manages to keep that ball free and get it down. Now we're in for a game. 12 points to 8 at 18 in favour of the Wolves. A much needed try for Leeds. Yeah, kick to come, of course, to make it 12. A little bit eager there. Leeds Rhinos Reserves 10, Warrington Wolves Reserves 18. Sinfield will, will kick. It's going to be Riley Lum. It's setting up around the 25 metres away from the try line. From the touch line. He's a fair way in, and he's a right footer, so this should go through the uprights. But commentator's curse, we'll see what happens. He steps up, boot goes through the ball, hooks it wide. It is commentator's curse. Score remains 18 points to 10 in favour of the Wolves. They keep that 8-point deficit. Nevertheless, a much needed try, and there's someone as well that I wouldn't want to see. I'd like to see scoring tries, of course, Morgan Gannon, as he builds up for a big remainder of the season. Will that be the 2 reserves games? There's a couple of first team games too. Hopefully we'll see him in action for Rowan Smith's side too. Such a talent. There's a lot of these players putting themselves, of course, in the shop window for first team action. Lewis Roberts, Jackson Field, Darrell Alfords, Liam Tyndall too. As we kick off, get the restart, and Medlicott charges it back in. So what a turn of events this would be if Leeds can manage to steal another score. About 15 left by our clocks, but of course not the official game clock. That's down to the referee. Leeds progressing nicely with Jack Smith, the latest ball carrier, towards the 35. As Gibbons goes in at the line, gets himself over the 40. Aldridge on for Gannon. Now for Fergus McCormack, shifts it for Ben Hersey-Horde, who wasn't quite waiting for it. But he gets taken to ground. If he'd been running onto that ball, potential for a potential line break if possible. As now Gannon goes to the air. It's high, swirling in the air for Connor Wrench, who makes that look very straightforward before he goes to ground under pressure from Jack Smith. And Alfie and Ned McCormack, excuse me. He's done pretty well, Ned, since his first reserves outing. As Leeds pulled up for a high shot, Gannon and Alfords with the high shot on Bobby Shingler. And where they could have tried to build some pressure leads, instead it's going to be Warrington turn it around. Rightfully taking their time. There'll be Hayes, kicks over the sideline. Get that 20 metres or so, rather than tapping the ball or taking the 10. Instead, they'll now start the set with Jack Derbyshire, 45 from the try line. Hayes, definitely been one of the danger men. He's going to be one of the guys to listen out for in this last few minutes. As Worley on for Doolan, drops it back inside. Good run from Minikin. Shifts it on for Hayes. Nice from Warrington. Shingler bounced off the challenge of Gannon, looked a little high. Referee says nothing doing, we're playing on. In a dangerous position again, Warrington, 20 metres out from the line. Whitehead, short at the line for Tapea. Rides the challenge of Worthington. He's getting himself within about 8 or so. Just to the right of the sticks, Warrington. Goes back towards the posts. Before being taken down by two Leeds defenders. That's McCormack, I believe, and Medlicott in there, who just retreats as quick as he can. As a one-pointer for Hayes, it's charged down by Aldridge. Didn't even spot that the Warrington man had dropped back. He was looking to want to truly put the game to bed. Aldridge did well to notice the danger, get up and hit him hard. Get in the way of the ball as well. So Leeds, a try would make this a very interesting finish. And they've got the men to do it as well. Riley Lum, Jack Smith, try scorers in their own right. Alfie Edgell too, who carries that ball in the fullback. Over towards the 25. Aldridge there waiting. Picks it up, gives it to Morgan Gannon. Just steadies his run before adding a bit of speed to take himself through more of the challenges towards the 40. Aldridge looks around at Dunby half. Decides to come towards this south stand side on the right. And it'll be Lum. Fends away for the challenges of two. Gives it to Gibbons. Now on to Medlicott. Nice ball over the top. Flick pass. Now this is nice from Leeds. Lets McCormack put a bit of wind in his sails. Gets out to Tyndall, who gets over the 30. Cuts back inside towards the 20. Manages to flick an offload for Ned McCormack in support. Leeds now on the 15. McCormack again. McCormack manages to get through. McCormack for the line. Not quite sure how he managed to evade those challenges, Ned McCormack, but not a bad way to introduce yourself to reserves football. Takes us to 14 points to the Rhinos, 18 to Warrington. Warrington will complain potentially about the flick passes from Medlicott And Jack Smith to get the ball wide for Liam Tyndall, who knew where his sideline was well, kept it tight, kept Tyro walking it quite nicely. But Ned McCormack never gave up on the play and knew if he hung around, he could provide an important support and gets over for a wonderful try. And still not sure how he manages to get out the tackle of Connor Wrench or Greg Minikin, but I don't think he will care. And a big conversion coming up for Jack Smith, who's taken over kicking duties, the right-footed kicker, just away to the left. So this should be a straightforward conversion for him. Hoofs it through, the flags go up, and we're in for a 2-point game. Well, this is setting up for an interesting finale here at Headingley. We will take off the back of an attempted drop goal. Leeds closes into 2 points. Warrington rightfully taking their time. They'll take the minute that they need. What a finale this is proving to be. Leeds Rhinos 16, Warrington Wolves 18. As Hayes goes deep, goes long, finds McCormack, who catches it on the full, gives it to Worthington. Big forwards that's going to be important for this last stint. And he will play the remainder of the game too. So I don't think Leon Ruin will come back just as a precautionary. But Lee sails. Edgell. Darts gives it to Morgan Cannon. Keeps the legs charging over the 40. Ball played for Edgell. As Alforts decides to stick against his side and cuts back towards the North Stand side. And there's a knock on. Jack Smith has a bit of a complaint. I think it's a judge that spotted it. Alforts coughs up the ball. And Leeds, when they could have been pushing for points and a potential, I'd say, equaliser, they'd take the lead if they scored next. Of course, they're quick to want to pack the scrum. Time off, says the referee. So just another reminder, after today's great win against Warrington, 24-22 the first team, the boys need your support more than ever. And 2 big away games coming up against Huddersfield and Hull FC. Get those tickets now online at tickets.therhinos.co.uk. Call in at the club shop as well, or call the ticket office. And get yourself on an away day as Leon Hayes manages to find some tired legs in that Leeds defence and goes for a sprint over towards the 20. Keeps himself going over the 10. Now this is more like it from Warrington. They put themselves in a strong position again as Luke Thomas, excuse me, hits the deck 2 metres shy. Ball comes back. Are they looking for a drop goal? Comes for Hayes. Hayes goes to ground. Medlicott pounces on him. Slow to play the ball, the halfback. This is now Whitehead. Decides himself to go and hit the deck. I think there's going to be a potential drop goal here, or there would have been until a Leeds man hadn't been left on the floor. I thought that looks in a bit of pain. Warrington, the play stopped just in front of the uprights. It's pretty much near the right-hand post pad. And Medlicott's gone down in a bit of pain. Obviously, if you can't get on the road to follow the Rhinos, be back here at Headingley. Make sure you get your tickets whichever stand you like for a big double-header. Leeds Rhinos women against Wigan Warriors women before the men's teams. Leeds Rhinos against Wigan Warriors take to the field in the penultimate home game of the season. Casper Tigers, of course, still to come in the final home game of the season in late September. Plenty to go on as well as Medlicott helped from the field. He's managed to get it to his feet. And we'll go off at the back of the Leeds Rhinos goal area, but potentially could be on for a drop goal here. The way they've dropped back, they've got Hayes in a bit of space, but instead he passes wide on for Minikin. A try, though, I think for either team could seal it. Knock on, though, from Minikin. And Leeds get the ball back with, I'd assume, not a lot of time on the clock. Looking at the way that Leeds want to rip that ball and get possession as quick as possible. Don't go anywhere for this final 5 minutes as Tyndall takes it in, but that is full time. Obviously no clock here, but that's a cruel way to lose for the young Rhinos. They lose out 18 points to 16. They thought a comeback was on when Ned McCormack crossed. But it gets a small hit on there. Chances of a ground and though, end their season on a high with an 18-16 win. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name's been Dan Hawkhead, and I can't wait to catch you whether you want to come see the Academy against Hull FC, Huddersfield, next Friday night. The big games to watch out for, of course, Huddersfield against the Rhinos in the Betfred Super League next Sunday. And then the week after that, another big week, Hull FC away for the men and St Helens away for the women. But until then, thank you for your company. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you very soon.